Today, we're diving into a pretty wild idea from ancient wisdom. The idea that all the turbulence we see in our modern world, well, it isn't just random chaos. What if it's actually a predictable chapter in a vast cosmic story? What if we're all just sailing through the Kali Yuga? So let's just jump right in with a big question. What if all the chaos, all the crazy fast changes, and the moral gray areas we see all around us, what if none of this is a surprise? What if ancient texts actually mapped out this exact period thousands of years ago as part of a huge repeating pattern? That's the powerful idea we're going to get into today. Okay, first things first, there's one key word we need to get straight. It's yug. It's a Sanskrit word, and it basically means an age, or a really, really long period of time. And when I say long, I'm not talking decades or even centuries. We're talking on a truly cosmic scale here. So how do all these yugs fit together? The best way to think about it is like a great cosmic clock. So in this first part, we're going to look at the grand timeline that these ancient Indian scriptures lay out for us. You see, according to texts like the Srimad Bhagavat Puran, time isn't just a straight line moving forward. It's a cycle. It moves through these four huge ages, or yugs. It starts with this golden age of truth, the Satya Yug, and then it kind of gradually descends through the Treta and Dwapar Yugs until it lands right where we are now, the Kali Yug. And after this, the whole cycle is said to just start all over again. So what's actually fading as we go through these ages? Well, the source material calls it the strength of Dharam. Now, that's a big concept. It's more than just righteousness. It's like the moral fabric of the entire universe. And Dharam is said to stand on four pillars: truthfulness, self-discipline, compassion, and purity. The health of any era is basically measured by how strong these pillars are. And wow, this chart just lays it all out perfectly. Look at this. In the Satya Yug, you've got all four pillars at 100%, a perfect age. Then in the Treta Yug, bam, one pillar collapses. The Ram is down to 75% strength. Then in Dwapar, another one goes, and we're at 50%. And then we get to the Kali Yug, where only one single fragile pillar is left. This visual really drives home that idea of a slow, gradual decay of virtue over time. All right, so let's zoom in on our own little spot on this cosmic timeline. Welcome to the Kali Yug, an era often called the Age of Darkness, or maybe more fittingly, the Age of Quarrel. So what's it supposed to feel like to be living in this age according to these ancient texts? Well, the descriptions are pretty stark. A steep, steep drop in moral values, corruption everywhere, a real degradation of basic human values. And, as you can probably guess, all of that leads to constant social strife and conflict. Sound familiar? And this isn't some New Age interpretation, you know? This is a direct quote from the Srimad Bhagavat Puran. It predicts that falsehood and cheating will just become common. Think about that for a second. These thousands of years old texts basically said there would come a time when truth itself would become shaky. Now, to really bring this idea to life, the texts tell this incredible story about the exact moment the Kali Yuga arrived on Earth, all seen through the eyes of a king. The story kicks off with this totally righteous ruler, King Parikshit, and he stumbles upon this really disturbing scene. There's this dark, menacing figure, the literal personification of the age of Kali, and he's attacking a cow and a bull. Now, these weren't just random animals, they were powerful symbols. The cow represented Mother Earth, and the bull represented Dharam itself. And here's the kicker. This is where it all clicks back to that chart we just saw. The bull, representing Dharam, was standing on just one leg. It's the living, breathing version of that final 25%. It's this powerful, almost haunting image of righteousness at its absolute weakest, just teetering on the edge of collapse. So, as you can imagine, Parikshit, a king who's sworn to protect righteousness, he was furious. He pulls out his sword, confronts this dark figure, and basically yells, "Who are you? You look strong, but you dare to kill in my kingdom? I'm going to punish you for this right now." He was ready to go to war for that last little bit of Dharam. But this is where the story takes a really interesting turn. The king realizes he can't actually stop the cosmic clock from turning. The age of Kali was here, and it was inevitable. So instead of trying to destroy Kali, which he knew was impossible, he chose to contain him. He basically negotiated the terms of Kali's existence in his kingdom. So where was Kali allowed to hang out?
Well, he was given free rein over these hotspots of vice and temptation, places for gambling, intoxication, prostitution, and slaughter. But that fifth one, that one's the real kicker: gold. And not just the metal, but the greed and the false pride that comes with it. The strategy wasn't to get rid of the darkness, but to try and quarantine it.
You know, before we move on to the what to do about it part, it's pretty fascinating to just pause for a second. Look at how this ancient worldview, with its cyclical time and a golden womb at the start, has these weird echoes and contrasts with modern science, like the Big Bang Theory. It's just a cool reminder that people have always been asking these huge questions about where we came from, just with different toolkits. Okay, so if this is where we are, if we're really living in this challenging age, what are we supposed to do about it? The good news is the source material isn't just a diagnosis of the problem, it also gives us a prescription. This next part is all about the timeless compass we're given to help us navigate these choppy waters. So what's the path forward? The Srimad Bhagavad Puran says the most effective path is something called Bhakti. You can think of it as devotional service, or really just cultivating a loving connection to the divine. And the most important part? This path is for everyone. It's not just for saints or scholars in a cave somewhere. It's completely accessible to all of us. And the cool thing is, the texts give us a super clear, actionable guide for how to practice bhakti. It's broken down into 4 main steps. First, chanting holy names. This is called the simplest and most powerful practice. Second, seek out good company to support you. Third, regularly listen to sacred texts. And finally, live a pure life. Focus on simplicity, compassion, humility. It's like a spiritual toolkit for a complicated age. And they are not messing around about that first step. This quote couldn't be any clearer. In this age of quarrel, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way. That's pretty definitive, right? It really highlights just how important this one practice is supposed to be for getting through the Kali Yuga. All right, so as we start to wrap this up, let's bring it all back home, to a more personal level. We've gone from cosmic clocks to ancient kings, but now it's really about finding your own compass, right here, right now. And that really leaves us with the big question. This ancient framework, it gives us one map for our times. It's a perspective of declining virtue, sure, but also a clear path of devotion to sail right through it. So, whether you take this as literal truth or just a powerful metaphor for the human condition, it really challenges us to ask a fundamental question. In an age that so often feels chaotic, what guides your actions? What is your compass?